Hello YouTubers, it's the Parkity Kid 76 here. Well, I just can't wait till Halloween comes around, but in this video, I'm gonna do the history of the iPod Touch, which will be in honor of the 10th anniversary video. First up is the second generation, the fourth generation, and the sixth generation. So this iPod Touch, we bought it in 2009. The iPod Touch 4 that I got it in 2012. And the iPod Touch 6, which I got it for my birthday 2 years ago. So let's get on with the video. As you can see, this is the iPod Touch second generation. So this is the LCD screen right here. You can see it has a home button there, and it has some mirrored chamfered edges here. This will be the bezel, and it has the left power switch. And it has headphone jack and a 30-pin dock. It has no speakers in it. Onto my fourth generation, as you can see here, it has a built-in FaceTime camera. The power button's on the right. The camera lens, the iPod and everything. Same thing, headphone jack, 30-pin dock, and the speakers. They added to my fourth generation. And I forgot one thing. It has the, right here, has a Wi-Fi thing there. Just it has no camera at then. And it has 8 gigs. And finally, this is the iPod Touch 6th generation. As you can see here. Same thing. It has a big camera lens and a Wi-Fi thing on the right, and it has the same thing, different color, power switch, the 8-pin, which is the lightning port, the headphone jack, and 4 speakers. So now I'm gonna test these 3 right now to see how to first of all, let me go to this the second generation before that. And you go here, and you'll slide it in there. Yep, it has no background at that, but this is the it has no background. So this video, for the first time, I'm using with my new iPad. As you can see right here, you can take a focus in it. It has Game Center, calendar, photos, and contacts. And it has YouTube. They used to be, but you can download YouTube rather than this one. And it has stocks, maps, weather, and all other kinds. This is the classic one. As you can see right there, you see, has a slide, swiping in it. It has music, mail, Safari, and videos. But unfortunately, at that time, yep, it has no multi-gestures for this second generation iPod Touch. As you can see, they used to have YouTube on TV. Watch this. Yep, they no longer support for this other versions like this, you know. So I'm just gonna share with you. It has now features, most view, search, favorites, and get more here. You can see there's most recent, top rated, history, my videos, subscriptions, and playlists. Yeah, they used to have this this version here, but they're unfortunately there's no longer there. As you can see, go into Game Center here. Yeah, this is the old version for this thing. Yeah, it's my sister's. Yeah, this is for my sister. Mines don't have it. And then there's calendar. The same thing that I just do this thing. Yep. Photos. And contacts. And you can go on stocks. It still has a stock here. And then there's maps. Oops. Yeah, this old logo, old Google logo. You could search the things if you want. And here's the weather. This is the weather. This is a classic one. The notes, if you write it down. Utilities. Have the same thing as on here with all three of these apps. Clock, calculator, and voice memos. And here's the iTunes app. This is the old one. This old version. As you probably will tell. Yep, they load this thing right there, you know, in particular. So, while still loading that, there's music, videos, search, genius, and more. Yep, they're ready. Just, you know, if you want to purchase this one, there's new releases, top 10s. I don't know. Yeah, it's gonna take a long to load. Here's the iTunes, tones, alternative, all other genres for this top 10. And there's genres. You could pick the selections of the genres, but although this is the old version of that. So, and then you go to videos, at least a few times. You could download this video, whatever you want. There are new releases. Although this is the old version for this iPod Touch. And then there's search. You could search that as well. There's Genius. Yeah, although it may take long, whatever. Oh yeah, I know. There's music, movies, and TV shows if you want. And finally, get more of these things, including podcasts, audiobooks, iTunes U, and downloads. So, yeah, unfortunately, when I turn off this the power switch, it doesn't turn off. Yeah, I don't know what this thing for. You can see, look at that. Look at the panel, LCD panel. They've been bright on this thing, whatever you can. Well, there it is. There's the Wi-Fi icon, the time, and the battery life. And you can go to settings if it is there. Let me give us an idea. There's the settings. There's Nike plus iPod. Used to exist, that thing. And that's all there is, I think. Well, enough of this one. So that's the second generation iPod. Let me back up the focus in it. Now let's move on to the next device, which is my iPod Touch 4. So, you can press right here, and you swipe in this thing. Yep, where it sounds there. This is the wallpaper. This is the iPod Touch 4 has wallpaper. Same thing, just swipe it here. Same of these apps right there. You can take a focus in it. What are you? Yep, it is. It has the same thing: the mail, the calendar, contacts, and everything. No. And here's a feature for this iPod Touch 4: the camera, the FaceTime, the passbook, and newsstands. They used to be the newsstand. And same thing: music, videos, Safari, and App Store. There's the iTunes, same thing, Game Center, messages. This is the iPod Touch 4 has messages and reminders, and download some of this the apps. Although this is the older one, unfortunately. Here's you can swipe right here if you want. The same thing as the first or second generation. It has now multi-gestures or multitasking. Whatever your selection is, open this app right here. Certain apps on that. And here's the settings. You can take a look at it. do not disturb and all other things here. This is the iCloud. The fourth generation has iCloud. There's the messages, FaceTime, and that's all I can tell you about. This is the airplane mode here or anything, and that's all there is. You could swipe it right here and go to camera. If you want to take a camera or film some other videos you want, although you could see the camera angle anyways, you could take a picture. Oh, I take a picture on that, but I want to delete this this thing right now. I want to delete that thing. And or you can take the video in it, and you can film some of the things on that if you want. So if you want, you could go to rotate this the camera or videos if you want, and then go to FaceTime. Yeah, you could say hi to the people for the FaceTime, or say hi to the friends, or any occasion of this one. And it has a passbook they used to have, but it's now some other versions on that. And that's all I could say about it. So that will be it for this iPod Touch 4. Unfortunately, it got stuck by this the power buttons on it. So yeah, I don't know. And we'll come to the last of this iPod generation will be the iPod Touch 6. So this is the iPod Touch 6, but on the back they used to have this on the iPod Touch 5th generation has a loop strap. This button here, it goes here, and then you put a strap on it. But my 6th generation iPod Touch doesn't have it. So you could press it right here. This is the newer version, which is the iOS 11. After this other of these previous versions on it, well, this is the iPod Touch 6th generation that I'm using right now. It has iOS 11. It has cool new features in it. The new redesigned iTunes Store and App Store. And these apps that I've been downloaded, just that. As you can see here, you can swipe on it. This is the Siri app suggestions. And then there's the weather and reminders if you want to remind it. If you want to edit in this thing, you can see take a focus in here. Yep, new widgets. It has the 2 new widgets are available. This is the iOS 11.1 or iOS 11.3 I believe, but I don't know, well, you know, it's getting used to that. You can add more widgets if you want. If you want to remove from these widgets, that'll be interesting. And also, you can click right here, use the swiping on this one, and then you'll delete or something. This is a multi-gestures. Or if you go swipe up, this is a 3D touch where it says airplane mode, airdrop, Wi-Fi, and Bluetooth. And you could watch either movies or music. There's the auto rotation, the do not disturb, screen mirroring, the night shift, the volumes, and all other features there. This is a big design here. Just you'll bear with me. And then you go to settings. This is the settings that it's newly redesigned for this. There's the same thing as a new background of this. That's all I said. Well, this is if you want to make the design here. I go to general, iPod storage. This is the new one, whatever, that I showed you in the previous video. This is a much faster one, but this for this iPod Touch 6th generation, including this is iBooks, Health, Home, Wallet. They used to have the passbook in it, but it's now Wallet. The settings already there. There's contacts, the male and female, the voice, the calculators. They're all newly redesigned version for this 6th generation iPod Touch. There's iMessage, mail. Yeah, it's loaded. Just, oh well, we're not gonna have time to. Well, it's loading a little bit. While it's there, I can go to a Safari. Get right at this to Safari's there, and music. So, same thing. You know, same thing as in the ones I showed you in the previous video for this. So, well, just go ahead and go to this mail from here. Mail, like this thing. Go to inbox. That newly redesigned thing. This is much better too. Make a new design. Well, it's just about it for this other things there. Let me back it up like this. Focus on here once again. So, there you have it. All three versions I have for the iPod Touch. So well, that takes care of this video. Now I'm going to go over to my screen recorder to show the other features of the iPod Touch. Then I'm going to look at it in the Wikipedia. Just to give you a quick summary of the iPod Touch, it says the iPod Touch is the iOS-based all-purpose mobile device designed and marketed by Apple Inc. As you can see, if you want to read through here, and on that it says the iPod. If you want to take a close look at it, yep, that's the pink iPod Touch. This is sort of like it's an iPhone shape kind of this device. The ones I have is the 6th generation. So, as of last month, the iPod Touch currently the only product in Apple's iPod product line, following the discontinue of the iPod Nano and the iPod Shuffle. Apple revised the storage and pricing of the iPod Touch within 32 and 128 gigs of storage. So this one it gets the even increased more space for this gigabyte. So if you want to read through this software you want, but you can see right here is the iOS version history. Yes, and there's nothing to do about the picture of what you saw here. Well, if you want to go ahead and do something. Here's an interesting one comparing to the iPhone. The iPod Touch is generally similar to the iPhone. If you want to read through here, well, you know, same generation iPhone and iPod Touch is thinner, lighter, and the less expensive, while lacking some of the hardware and software features. And if you could take a look right here, here are the iPod Touch model comparison. Yep, this is the charts of the iPod Touch. This is the 1st generation, if you want to see the picture of that. The 2nd generation and the 3rd generation that we have. But the 1st generation that my sister used to have, yeah. The ones I also have it is the iPod Touch 4th generation, which I got it back in 2012. And the 5th generation of the latest model with the loop strap. The left is 32 and 64 gig version, and onto the right, the 16 gigabyte version of the 2013 model. and the latest of the iPod Touch 6th generation, which I got it for birthday back in 2 years ago in 2015. Should look through here, and then I preserving this this version right there. You see, not all of these devices have the similar size. It's just ones I've been using with this, and some of the iPod Touch similar to this one. All three of these are a smaller one, but in a later version has the increasing the bigger one. As of the 2012 model and the 2015 model. So let me go ahead and write down here if you want to look through these charts. The other device we have is the iPad, from the first generation, the second, the third, the fourth, the iPad Air, iPad Air 2, and the iPad 2016, which I got it for birthday at about a month ago. We'll talk about some different device you got. This is the iPad mini that I used to have it when I got this for birthday back in 2014. And let's see, the iPad Pro, the larger size tablet, which is the larger size device. You can do this thing. Well, if you want to go to the summary of the list of these iOS device right here, but I want to know about the iPod Touch, the one we just saw here. I take a look at the timeline of models. This is 4 GBs, the original iPhone 8 GBs, the iPhone 3G Black 8 gigabytes, iPhone 3GS Black 8 gigabytes. If you want to look through this one, where's in other versions of 16 gigabytes for the iPhone here, and some of the other gigs right there where it says 32 all the way up to 64 GBs. But I want to know the iPod Touch first generation. This is the device that I'm going to talk about right now. 1 GBs, 8 gigs, 2 GBs, 8 gigs also, 2 Gs, MC, 8 gigs, 16 GBs, other versions of that, 3G, 32 gigs, iPod Touch 5th generation, 32 gigs, 64 GBs, and that's all we got. The charts of the iOS device are probably of that. You could look through here, Apple Lightning connector. So, if it could, well, there's nothing else going on, If you will go ahead and list of all these models. Here are the list of all these models for the iPod models right here. This is a first generation iPod, the very old device right here. Firewire connection, capacity 5 to 10 GBs. Originally date release on October 23rd, 2001. And on the second generation, July 17, 2002. Third generation, April 28, 2003. The fourth generation, with photos and colors, or they added to USB on July 19, 2004. And the photo and the color, Firewire or USB, released on October 26, 2004 and June 28, 2005. The fifth generation, this is the classic one, like I said. Fifth generation, 30, 60, 80 GBs, USB, October 12, 2005. The sixth generation, iPod Classic, September 5th, 2007. You can see all this Maximum OS to sync it for the iMac and Windows. I forgot to mention. Let's go on to the Mini. 4 GBs, USB or Firewire, January 6, 2004. Second generation, February 22nd, 2005. Now we come to the Nano, the smaller iPod. First, second, and 4 GBs. September 7, 2005. That was the day before my birthday. You know, the second, September 12, 2006. The third, September 5th, 2007. The fourth, September 9, 2008. That was a day after my birthday, as well as the 5th generation, September 9, 2009, also after my birthday. The 6th, September 1st, 2010. The 7th, September 12, 2012. Now we'll go on to the Shuffle. The Shuffle is released on January 11, 2005. The 2nd generation, September 12, 2006. The 3rd, March 11, 2009. And the 4th, September 1st, 2010. Both of these the products are discontinued, with the Classic, the Mini, the Nano, the Shuffle. Now let's go over to this the Touch one. This is the 1st generation iPod, released on September 5th, 2007. The 2nd generation on September 9, 2008. The 3rd, September 9, 2009. The 4th version was released on September 1st, 2010, which I still have it, although this is the older one like I have. The 5th generation with loop strap on September 12, 2012, and on the 6th generation on July 15, 2015. This is the one I got it for my birthday. And yes, if you want to go to this other information like this, they have the music. You can download music or whatever with this iPod. You can listen to music, whatever. You can import your songs or photos if you want. And now let's go over to the timeline. From this, the Shuffle right here, the Mini, the Nano, the Classic, which is discontinued. All of these discontinues are the Shuffle, the Nano, the Mini, and the Classic, except for the Touch ones and the iPhone. You could see those categories through the timelines and everything. And that's all I can say. Well, enough of that. So that's all I can say for this the history of the iPod Touch. With that said, this is the Park Kitty Kid 76. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again in my next video.